Hello, space maggots. Lorenzo here, episode 23 of Tylo and Eeloo. In the distance there you can see Duna and Ike. No, this has not been a wrong destination. This is just a mission to garner science. I've taken the liberty to proceed time to this point from the last episode. We have now just entered Duna's sphere of influence, and we shall be landing on it. Now, if we open up the contracts window, let's see. All these things are not relevant now. We need to achieve orbit around Duna, transmit or recover scientific data from space around Duna, land on Duna, and transmit or recover scientific data from the surface of Duna. Well, no sweat, right? Let's start by transmitting scientific data from space around Duna. Let's see how many. I have 2 of these goo canisters, and I have some repeatable science experiments. Obviously, I'm going to do the repeatables. Let's see, where are they? I have the PresMet sensor, that's probably... it will tell us that it is a vacuum in space over Duna as well. Well, that's nice. Let's start that transmission. We'll get some science points and we'll get the check mark. But of course we need to do more science because we want all the points. And I distinctly remember also putting a thermometer on this thing, I think. Let's see, where's that at? I could have put it in an action group maybe, that might have been smart, but alas, smart is not always my middle name. No, didn't find it. I'm sure it's not there. Is this for real? Am I going to not bring a thermometer? Or maybe it's the easiest science instrument in the book. Maybe it is there. Maybe it was already developed. Well, apparently so. I can't find it at any rate. Oh well. Let me hunt more. We will do a goo canister at least on... Yeah, we'll do goo canisters on the surface of Mars and in flight over Duna. Sorry, I'm calling it Mars. It's just so red. And then the Icelander that carries, I think, more goo canisters that can do the spaceborne sciences. Okay, so let's make a maneuver node to... Actually, no. Let's just get into orbit. Because remember, getting into orbit was one of the requirements for the mission. This is a kilometer per second. I think we will have that. And I'm not sure if I just enter the atmosphere straight up, whether or not that's going to count for the get into orbit requirement. Actually, I don't think it will count. So let's put this maneuver node slightly before the periapsis. Yeah, wonderful. And this way we can even choose whether we're going to land in the sunshine, which I want, of course. Great, so let us now fast forward to the maneuver node. Is that something I can do? I think so. Yeah, fast forward to maneuver node. Here we go. Oh yeah, this thing again. I don't want to warp to the periapsis. Oh, screw it, I'll do it manually. I'll throw in a quick save just to be sure I'm not gonna overshoot. Here we go, not overshot. Not quite there yet either. Ike is so close to Duna. It's even in a tidally locked orbit. Although that doesn't have too much to do with distance. As you may be able to tell, I'm quite fuzzy due to all the painkillers. But we'll have to manage we'll have to manage our rocket technology, our rocket science anyway. Because hey, if you get injured on the way to Mars and have to take painkillers, then, well, surprise, the planet's not going away. So no excuses, we're gonna land on it. Pressure data. Space this is still high over Duna. Alright then. One more search for the thermometer. It should be here somewhere. Is it on the probe core? Oh god, I'm rejiggering the stages. I shouldn't do that. Alright. Parachutes last. Yeah, this is still proper. I'm forgetting to burn. Firing the engine. Here we go. We're steering all over the place, but not to worry. We're still decelerating somewhat. This is the most hideous burn ever. Alright, let's ditch that. Here we go. I fear for this landing. I'm too woozy to do it properly, I'm afraid. I'm gonna drink some coffee. Hang on. Oh, that's really hot. Alright, it's 500 meters per second to go, and that will earn us another green check mark. The things legends are made of. Green check marks. Oh god, wobbling all over. Oh, we're only halfway through our fuel, so it should all be fine. Let's see, the check mark is there. We have achieved orbit. Let's now pick a landing spot. Of course, we want to land on the sunlit side. I think that means that we're gonna have to do a maneuver here. Yeah, we want to do something like this. Yeah, this will give us a 10-kilometer periapsis on the sunlit side. Let's do it. Time warping to there. That's 47 minutes from now. This may present a problem that we are actually gonna have to do something about the heavy lander around Tylo. They are so concurrent. That's crazy. This happens in 47 minutes. Alright, let's make this be a regular orbit then. Then if worst comes to worst, we can at least wait until... we can leave this waiting until after the Tylo lander happens. The next thing is 87 days in the future. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put this in a parking orbit. And then we're gonna pay attention to the Tylo attack drone. That's gonna be the most exciting landing anyway. So first things first, 20 more minutes of time warp until we can do this 10-second burn. 300 meters per second. Well, we could have, remember, we could have slammed into the atmosphere from interplanetary space. That would have yielded us with a much more delta V efficient entry. But this way, we're gonna have some more control about where we end up. Alright, full on the burn there. 200 more meters per second. It appears we're burning into the planet. That's because we want to turn our elliptical orbit slightly more circular. And I think we have done it. Ike won't be a problem here. This periapsis, I think, is still outside the atmosphere, but only just. Let's raise that a little bit. This will make it be outside of the atmosphere for sure. And we can leave this ship here and go pay attention to the heavy lander around Tylo, which is due for an action in 4 minutes. Unbelievable how concurrent these things are happening. Oh, that's actually only the Tylo encounter, but let us see how that will complicate matters for us, because I think that will put us on a Tylo intercept course, if I recall. Not just an intercept course, a collision course. That's the word I was looking for. Alright, come on. Do it. Yeah. Collision course with Tylo. Let's not do that. Okay, I turned on the engine ever so slightly. This is the wrong direction. I'm gonna let the ship turn now, so that once we're facing the right direction, I can thrust and get a very small apoapsis, so we can establish a very, very low orbit. I will explain the tactic of my landing. 22 kilometers seems neato. Is this the sunlit side or not? Not really. Let's go for a little bit higher then, because I won't be able to see any mountains. The thing is, Tylo is a relatively heavy moon. It will have a lot of gravity, and it has no atmosphere. Therefore, we want to establish a very low orbit so that we can suicide burn brake and then just land, because there's no way we're gonna slow down at like 100 kilometers of altitude and then gently lower ourselves to the surface, because we will be fighting gravity the whole way there. And we won't have the rocket fuel to do that. So I want to get us in a low orbit, preferably something like 30 kilometers, something ridiculously low like that, and then just step on the brakes and set down on the rocks. To do that, we'll have our periapsis here of 61 kilometers, and we can see that that's already rather close to the surface. And remember, I've never landed on Tylo before, and that means that I don't know how high the mountains are, if there are any. I think it would be a stretch, though, to assume that there will be mountains higher than 60 kilometers. For reference, we're at 60 kilometers now, and we're at 2,800 meters per second. This is more than orbital speed around Kerbin, but then again, we're not in orbit, we're on a hyperbolic trajectory. So we'll see what our orbital speed is once we are actually in orbit. Pointing straight retrograde now, full thrust. And hoping to establish an orbit so that we can land somewhere in the sunlit side. Look, here we are, closing down our orbit. Pretty neat. That is the sunlit side over there, so I might as well try and put that. Now, I'm going to put this apoapsis here at about 60 kilometers as well. And then... oh look, it's happening by itself. Our periapsis here on the sunlit side is 12 kilometers. We're going to write that out, and we're going to see what that looks like, what this weird planet moon thing looks like up close. Orbital speed now 2 kilometers per second with a periapsis of 10 kilometers. That means it's slightly smaller than Kerbin, but not by a lot. There we have Joule coming up over the horizon. A nice alien landscape, and that's probably Lathe. That's a rocket here. This system is large but crowded. And that's Vol over there, I think. It's quite nice if you live in a planet with lots of moons and stuff. You get to see things in the night sky. Alright, here we have Dawn. And we're now at 52 kilometers of altitude. Does this thing have any science on it? That's the question. I don't think it does. I don't think it does. All the weight was used for propellant, Delta V, and landing equipment, so no science here. But of course, if we can set down, that'll be an achievement in and of itself. A little bit of time warp. There are no mountains coming up, I don't think. Now what we need to look out for is that when we are at 12 kilometers, and we're going to slow down from 2 kilometers per second, the second we hit the throttle, I think we're under the time warp barrier. Time warping is not allowed here, no. The second we are losing speed, we'll be falling towards the planet at something that will resemble 9 meters per second, accelerating, that is. And from that moment, we'll need to use our rocket to not crash. Let's just start that descent now. I mean, we're at one time warp mandatory. It doesn't look like we're very high up. We'll have the sun to give us a nice shadow, and we have lots of rocket fuel still to make us actually slow down. So here we go. Landing on Tylo, take 1, attempt 1 in the history of everything. Here we go. Deceleration burn commencing. Now I think it's fair to say that this rocket won't make it, at least this stage won't make it, but we have another stage, the lander itself. We're a quarter of the way there. We're pulling 5 Gs. And there appear to be some dimples in the landscape. As I said before, I have no idea what the actual ground level is going to be here. Let's see. 1 kilometer per second to go. Let's ditch this rocket. And we are now with the small lander. And of course, when I said 1 kilometer per second to go, that's not accurate. We have more to go. We just have about 1 kilometer per second of horizontal velocity to go. This big moon will pull us down pronto. Let's see. We are now at about 300 meters per second of horizontal velocity. Let's deploy the landing legs. I am feeling the dearth of a RCS system. The engine needs to be on for maneuvering. That's not good. Ooh, that view though is good. We have Joule, we have Lathe, and under us we have Tylo here. I feel we are already quite close to the surface. Let's punch it. Could this be like a high plains thing with a mean altitude of 10 kilometers? We're still going at 100 meters per second. But this rocket does have the capability to slow down. The thrust to weight ratio is definitely there. Is the ground also there? That's the question. Yeah, the ground is definitely here. It's not far away at all. Full thrust. We're now at 80 meters per second. Look how fast that acceleration is happening. That's scary. Our fuel is now starting to become limited. Fortunately, we have a sick thrust to weight ratio at this point. We can stop from this 50 meters per second pretty much instantly. And we may have to. Because there's no... this resembles the moon visually. But really, there's no comparing it. I mean, if we land on a unusable incline here, tough. Ooh, we're going up now. That's not good. Our fuel is almost run out. Come on. Come on. We are decelerating now. We're accelerating now. We're decelerating now. This is much harder than on the moon. Oh god. Alright, so we tipped over. But I'm officially not minding that. Let's retract the struts. There wasn't a purpose to this thing. We landed on Tylo, intact. Sort of, almost. We lost one solar panel. This thing... Do we have something inside the service bay? Oh, can we get up? Can we get up using the landing legs in the service bay? No. And the engines? No. Alright, what do we have? Oh, here's the thermometer. Let's log the temperature. Let's send that. Oh, we're sending data from the surface of Tylo. From Tylo's major crater. Cool. Oh, that's a little bit embarrassing that I forgot that I lost the thermometer like that. And I think it was maybe not a solar panel that exploded, but our pressure sensor. Or no, this didn't have... Wait a second, scratch that. I lost the thermometer on the Mars probe, not on this one. Sorry. Log thermometer. We could have done lots more thermometer science, but I forgot. Look at that, 8 fuel units remaining. The landing struts absorbed the impact like a champ, and now our thing here is on the surface of Tylo. Let's see where we ended up. Inside the major crater, it said. Well, that sure looks like a major crater, or a general crater. Cool, our first piece of hardware on Tylo, and as we have proved that as suspected, landing here is a bitch. We're gonna need to bring big rocket thrusters to do so successfully. Right on! Through the space center and onto a Duna landing. Most importantly, of course, we have now unlocked the simulation capacity of the Tylo environment, so we can actually simulate landers there before actually going there. That will be huge, because if we have to send everything we designed there, it's going to be episode 5 million before we actually accomplish something. So no, we can now properly design something and then send it there. Great. Back to Duna. Alright, so this is approaching apoapsis now, at which point we can simply reduce periapsis again to actually come in for a landing. Let's do so. How's our monopropellant? Actually good. Cool. A little bit of engine thrust. I think 20 kilometers will be... Yeah, this will suffice. And let us scroll forwards the time. Oh, not that much. Alright, can we see the planet? We can definitely see the planet. We are in sunlight. Wonderful. Alright then. Less care has to be taken here because the whole planet here is smaller than Tylo, at least mass-wise. So we can probably... I mean, I did bring a heat shield, but I'm gonna come down on rockets mostly. Let's start. We're not even in the atmosphere yet, but I'm gonna turn around and start firing the rocket. You can see the sliver of red atmosphere. These mountains appear to stick out through that. That might present a little problem, because of course we have used parachutes in the lander design. And if these mountains actually stick out into space as they do on the real life Mars, we might have a problem. It might just be a graphical representation of that atmosphere. Oh look, I found the thermometer. Transmit that home. How did I lose it before? Or was that the Nurgle Gurgle? Was it this ship that I lost the thermometer on? Yeah, it was. Well, pressure data. At least we've got pressure data and thermometer scans from the upper atmosphere now, and also a mystery goo. That's some science points at least. Look at that, antennae doing their thing everywhere. And we'll keep this bit of the rocket attached until they have done their thing. Wonderful. Let's now separate that. Ooh. This is our landing engine. But we can use it to scrub a bit of the speed, and then we'll... I don't think we need to turn around and use the heat shield. We probably brought it for nothing. Because we're traveling at 500 meters per second now. Relative to the surface, even less. And those speeds don't even require a heat shield on Kerbin. And this atmosphere is at least 10 times thinner. So yeah, I think everything will be fine. What we will do is cut the engines now and deploy our parachutes, so that they can get optimum efficiency at slowing us down. We will land over there, which is a base? That is in space, far away. I thought I found a Martian base, but no. That would have been a little bit strange. Alright, a little bit of time warp, because I made it so that this will take forever. Also, I'm getting really worried, because this mountain is coming dreadfully close. Our parachutes haven't really deployed yet. I'm going to do more deceleration on rockets. I'll keep a quarter of the fuel for the actual landing. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna have to use this bit of the fuel for the landing. There is an aerodynamic force being applied now. Ah, there's the parachutes. They are decelerating us. That is good. That is definitely good. I do have a feeling that we are landing on a inopportune area of the planet that's very high, and thus has very low air, which means not a lot of aerodynamic deceleration from the parachutes. Alright, let's deploy our landing legs. Because is it me, or is the ground just over there already? Alright, I chickened out. I'm gonna use the thrusters. And we are at just 6 kilometers of altitude now. Parachutes have fully deployed. They are doing more. Let's quickly squeeze in a thermometer and pressure reading. Full thrust. Oh god. 40 meters per second. That could be too much. 20 is probably okay. 10 is definitely okay. 4 is also definitely okay. 8, yeah, 8 would be fine. 2 is definitely great. Here we go. Oh, RCS, come on, stay upright, stay upright. I like this move, using RCS to push yourself onto the planet. We have a stationary science station on Duna. Big whoop. Land on Duna completed. I think we did all the things. No, we need one more check mark. Transmit scientific data from the surface of Duna. Well, here we go then. Observe the mystery goo. Transmit that, please. And observe this materials bay. Transmit that, please, as well. Oh man, so many science data. And of course we need a thermometer scan and a pressure scan. One problem could be the solar panels. They are neatly shielded by the heat shield. That's probably not good. Boom. Thermometer scan. Not enough electric charge, obviously. Pressure data. How bad is the... Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're gonna have to do some time warping to get the solar panels to charge. It's just like real life. Probes on different planets have power issues. And not in the way that they want to conquer everyone. They just need their power. Pressure data. Sending that. With time warp. Cool. 2 successful landings. Wonderful. We're gonna leave this here. Neatly done on the rocket fuel as well, if I do say so myself. Most of the fuel has gone. We have some RCS propellant though. And the big thing, of course, is we can come back to this if we get a contract to return some science from the area of Mars. Look at that, we landed near some dunes. Great, great, great. Parties all around. We did bring a useless heat shield, but oh well, live and learn. Let's go to the space center. See what we can do with this cash and this science. Oh yeah, the cash we know. We need to save up for the research and development building. And the science, we have now enough science points to actually get it. We can get the nuclear propulsion without the science building upgrade. That is amazing. And we can get carborundum tech here. The fusion, the fission motor, the fusion motor, and a small fusion motor. I think we definitely need to get this one. There's just no contest. I wanted some other things as well. Small probe engines, volume, yeah, big tanks. That would be nice, but not essential. Hell no. Heavy aerodynamics. This is nice to play with. Definitely not needed yet. Heavy landing could be good. This is nice. This is nice for SES control. Pods are nice. This is all nice to have. But oh my god. Oh yeah, and we want this one. This is the one we were actually gonna save for. The Graph Max, more science. The drilling. This is the drilling. But no, first nuclear engines. That is the big step forward. And some scary fusion drive tech here. Look at that. Max thrust, 1250. That's actually not huge, but the specific impulse is just amazing. 15,000. And it needs electric charge. That's a problem, I think. Well, it might not be a problem. Anyway, we're gonna get this. Boom. Research it. And I think somewhere here, was that here? There isn't. There are extra. There is more propulsion available at some point. This is just the nice chemical engines. But there is more. There is a torch drive as well, but I forgot where it's hiding. Is it here? No. Ion propulsion. This is also nice. Oh, it's called Dawn. Cool. Dawn is the real life ion mission. Unmanned advanced tech, large probes, just the remote guidance unit. Drone core, nice. Electronics. Where is my torch drive hiding? Is that also here? Electromagnets, advanced metalworks, runway, build space planes off planet. All right. Oh well, I'm sure we'll at some point we'll find it again. We're gonna get so many technologies everywhere. Oof. But where? Oh, radiators, the new ones. That's nice. Alright, well this is getting terribly boring to watch, I'm sure. Me hunting for the mystical torch drive. I'm gonna look for it just off screen for a second more. No, didn't find it. I'm sure it's not there. Or maybe it is there. Maybe it was already developed. Let me hunt more. No, can't find it. Oh well, must be a figment of my imagination. Anyway, check out next episode for landing on Eve. This was Lorenzo with Tylo and Eeloo. 2 successful landings today. Let's have a party. See you next episode. Bye bye.